Hi everyone, I'm Aaron Hagedorn. It's an honor to be part of this research methods class with you this semester. I'm going to post a lot of videos and I'm going to offer you lots of time when we can talk live on Teams or chat by Teams, and I'll type out as much as I can to try and make the content of this class clear. Whenever there's a quiz, I'm going to prepare you for it well. You don't need to worry. And the assignments we're going to explain very clearly to you. So um, you'll get lots of feedback and a chance to do really well. I really like this class because we're teaching you how we understand what's true and how we develop new knowledge. We're never going to be totally omnipotent, but we can, using logic, find ways to improve our understanding of the world. And I'm going to send you some links about logical fallacies. I really encourage you to think about those, and you'll see that a lot of the way people talk and a lot of the ideas we have naturally, sometimes it's not based on logic. And the reason we can have the high technology that we have, and the reason why we have transportation systems like we have, it's extreme logic and abstractions on that logic that led to all the engineering that led to those kind of technologies. In the social world, relationships are complicated, and mental health is extremely complicated, and it isn't logical. Humans aren't totally logical, but we can use logical processes to try and understand and predict behaviors, and through a combination of data collection and data analysis, we might be able to predict and prevent some negative events from happening in people's lives. The first PowerPoint has some really interesting details. One thing I really want to point out to you is these cognitive biases. The confirmation bias is really important. Of course, if you believe something to be true, then you focus on the evidence that it is true. And if you believe it to be false, then you ignore all evidence that doesn't conform to your belief. This happens a lot with kind of political affiliation. You might see where people are very supportive of members of their own political party and very dismissive of members of another political party. It happens with our friends, where we see the good in our friends, and the people we don't like, we only see the bad parts. So depending on your bias initially, that's going to affect how you see things. And in research, this is important because if you think a program works, then chances are you're going to prove that it works in your evaluation of it or your experiment to prove it. But if you have doubts, then you might design an experiment that proves it doesn't work. Ideally, we have an unbiased, neutral approach when we design a research project. We all have some biases naturally, and it's hoped through peer collaboration and peer review, where people that are educated and think have different upbringings might be able to see some of the holes in our research. That's the idea of confirmation bias. If you believe it to be true, chances are you'll only notice the evidence that makes that true. Selective observation is similar, where you're focused just on the details that prove your case and ignoring those that don't. Overgeneralization, very easy to do when you think like all Harvard people are smart or all UTA people are just amazing. It's easy to place a label on people and overgeneralize. Any kind of racism or sexism or things like that are all overgeneralizations as well, where you focus too much on one detail that may be completely irrelevant to someone's performance on the job or somebody's interests. Some characteristics are not determinative of who we are behind the scenes. And finally, the Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a really interesting one. The Dunning-Kruger effect found that the more you think you know about something, the less confident you are. And the less you know about something, the more confident you are. And you can think like with the vaccines, for example. There are a lot of people that don't have any scientific background that simply dismiss vaccines and they're confident that they have no effect. And then there are people that have tremendous scientific background and they always give nuanced answers. And they're not totally confident either because they know that there can be mutations, there can be changes that make the vaccine less effective. And so you have those that really understand the issues, like the vaccines, expressing some doubts in it because they're understanding the nuance. And then you have the people that have no scientific knowledge, but they're very confident in their knowledge of either it's all good or all bad. So that's the idea of the Dunning-Kruger effect.